you. And also, don't forget to drink. Actually, Nora, can I ask you a big favor?
Yes.
Could you bring me my bottle of water that's in the fridge, please? Okay, we are live. Yee. Okay, hi everybody. I'm France Van Stone, and today we are going to do a live and a Q&A. You are going to be able to ask your questions in the chat. I'll show you exactly how that works. And my daughter is bringing me a bottle of water. This is great. And we're going to start. So, did you notice this is a new platform? We are starting with this whole YouTube thing, which is rather new for me. So you might have some delays. Like, for example, if you ask me a question, I will answer it on my end as I see it come in, but there's a little bit of a delay between my end and yours. So my answer may not come in as promptly as maybe you were hoping. So bear with me on this. This is a new platform. Oh, I see that some people are already here. This is great. So why don't you do this? Introduce yourself in the chat portion of the video here, which is going to be to my I guess on the right side, so that's to my left over there, right? So tell me where you're from. I already have Chris from Canada, Jordan in Miami, Janice, Switzerland. This is great. Sandrine, bonjour. Las Vegas, Jan in Las Vegas. Oh, no, I see from Washington. Wow, that's even more of a stretch for me. From Texas. So go ahead and introduce yourselves. I love knowing where you're from and also how many people we have, because this being a new platform, I really don't know if we're going to have as many people as we have in the past, but we'll find out, as long as the cool people are here, right? Okay, so Michelle, you're here. Hi from the Jersey Shore. Oh my gosh, lucky duck, Michelle. And another person from Texas, Bristol in the UK. Wow, this is great. TN also from the UK. I really hope I'm pronouncing your names right. St. Louis, Ontario, Canada. This is great. And Oakland, California. Carrie, my goodness, thank you all for being here. What I'd like to start by doing is not draw immediately. I'm going to show you. We're going to do that, of course. But I'm going to play that little intro video for the class that is going on right now, which is my eyes and eyeglasses class. Hi, Rebecca from South California. Oh my gosh, from Seoul at 1 a.m. Oh, that's amazing. Anna is in New York and Dick is in Rotterdam in Holland. This is great. So I'm going to play this little video. It's about 1 minute long. Bear with me, and then I'll be back with you. So there it is. Eyes are a crucial part of any portrait. This is where most of the emotion is conveyed. Any believable portrait calls for believable eyes. Hi, I'm France Van Stone. I'm a French-American self-taught artist. I'm the author of Sketch, and in this new lesson, we are going to focus on eyes, but also on eyeglasses. At the end of this class, you will want to draw eyes, you will want to draw eyeglasses, cover pages of them. And we will also meet at Sketchy Art School, this online community where I can answer all your questions and you can chat with hundreds of students from around the world. So let's get to work, let's grab pens, let's grab pencils, and let's draw eyes. Ooh, look at that eye. Okay, and so that was the intro to the class, and as you know, we are leaning heavily on how to draw eyes and eyeglasses. So today, this is going to be our big thing. We are going to draw someone who is wearing glasses and, with pretty expressive eyes. And hopefully some of you will want to do this with me. So I'm seeing even more people came in. This is great. From Spain, Colorado, the Denver area. Deb, great. Okay. No entiendo nada. Oh, I am so sorry, Luz. Lo siento. Anne, you're here from San Francisco. Evelyn from Vancouver. My goodness, this is great. Diana in Australia. And Rick, you're here. Oh my gosh, we've got Rick. This is so cool. Hi, Rick. Oh my gosh, you're such a star, Rick. This is so cool that you're here. I hope you can stay a little bit. Okay, so you saw the video. Now I'm going to introduce you to our muse. So you've noticed that right over, let me see, I'm going to try to do this. Right. Okay. On this side of the screen, you see what I'm about to draw on, but then I'm going to flip. So you're going to see what I'm about to draw on as the big screen, and you're going to see me in this little window. And I am right about here, I'm about to put up the inspiration photo. So there it is. Can you see? Oh, look, this is so cool. This is our inspiration photo. So this is John Coxwell from Sketchy. And that photo grabs me because it's a little bit of a, like a 3/4 like this. It's not fully frontal. It's not a profile either. It's really interesting what's going on in this photo, and some really nice shadows, as you see, created from the rim of his glasses and so forth. So I think we've got a nice inspiration photo. If you look below on YouTube, below the video, right there, if you click Show More, we've put the address to this drawing, to this photo, so that you can also do it with me if you want to. My setup is the following. I'm using my little tablet. I have a tiny little tablet. It's an Android that I use just for that purpose, just to have a reference photo that's big enough on the side. And I'm just going to put it right there. And I'm going to now flip. Take a look at what I'm about to do. Now you've got where I'm about to draw, and I'm tiny in the corner. That's because that's the way we want things to be. This video is not about me in front of a camera. So we're doing eyes, we're doing eyeglasses, and I want you to notice also that right below me, there's a code. It's France 30. That code, if you go to shop.sketchy.com, gives you 30% off 2 or more of my classes. So if you take 2 classes, it will only be $42 instead of $60, so it's a good deal. So feel free to use that. Those of you who haven't, for example, tried the Procreate one or the cross-hatching one, you can do that. Okay, so oh my gosh, I have from Norway. Rick, I love the fact that that Rick is saying that he's not a star when we all know that he is. Let's face it, Rick. You are. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to draw with. First of all, today I decided to use a very thin piece of paper. This is simply a Xerox paper, super, super thin. There's nothing fancy about it. This is photocopy paper. That's what I'm going to use. I already have it on my desk because I needed to put little pieces of tape so it doesn't slide around. Which might be a challenge a little bit because I'm so used to spinning a page around. And for pencils, because we're going to use pencil today, I'm going to use my H.9 pencil, which is a Pentel. H is the lead that's inside. That's just maybe to build the beginning, the foundation, and then I'm going to switch to a 2B pencil, because we've got some dark areas in the picture above me there, and I really would like that to show well. So 2B, and again it's 09, which means I get my leads in a little thing like this by Pentel. Did you see it's 09 2B? I find those online. They get a little beat up in my pencil case, but yeah. Thank you, Deb, for recommending my classes. I really appreciate that. So since this is a Q&A, guys, feel free to ask me any questions that you might have in the comment or chat section on the side. And me, as I draw, I always pay attention to my screen, and I'll make sure to answer any questions you might have that, arise as we go. I don't have a problem chatting while drawing. I love it. So why don't we tackle this thing, right? We're here to get comfortable with eyes and eyeglasses. I find that eyeglasses, very often I didn't do drawings that had eyeglasses in them because I was a little intimidated about them. Sometimes they're too symmetrical and it's hard to provide that symmetry. But in this case, as you know, we don't have exactly a frontal picture. He's a little bit turned this way, right? And that should be fun. So those of you who took my class, you know that one of the ways that I deal with glasses is by fitting them somehow in a rectangle. And when that rectangle is not frontal, then it has to be somehow distorted by perspective. So let's take a look at what we've got here. If I start at about this height, I think you guys can see. Yes, yes. Okay. So I've got something that's just about straight with the top of my paper here, just about. And I try to fit those glasses within that rectangle that I'm about to draw. So let's say like this and like this, because it's at a bit of a perspective. There's a bit of distortion. So here, this is very faint because I'm starting in H. Once I move to 2B, you know what? I'm going to move to 2B now. This is really, as far as I'm concerned, the amount of construction I need. Maybe I'm going to fit where his forehead is so that I don't mess up too badly. He's wearing a hat. Just wanted to get those proportions kind of right. The hat comes down that way. Okay. I'm not really going to focus on the hat today. I'm really going to focus on the face. What I do when I use this kind of a very light pencil is it allows me to sort of form my proportions and not mess up too badly later, because we tend to grow drawings as we draw them. You know that problem, I'm sure, all too well. I certainly do. So what I'm establishing here before I put down that H pencil, which is so light, I'm just establishing my proportions so that I kind of know, like for example here, boom, I already made his forehead a little too small, so I'm going to correct that here. There we go. Oh, I didn't even prepare an eraser. Go figure. But I have one at hand, as always. So I'm going to take this line off. It's incorrect, so to say. Okay. And by the way, when I use erasers, this is the eraser I was using in my lesson also. It's from a store called Muji. I don't know if you guys know Muji. Muji.net. I love that store. Okay, so all right. So Tahir, you have a very good question here, and I would like to bring that up because this is really the first question. Is there any difference between ballpoint pen hatching and pencil hatching? Yes and no. I would say that when you're in pen, you can really vary the pressure that you put on your pen. And so can you in pencil. The only thing that your pencil is going to do after a while that the pen never does is it's going to become a little dull. And so therefore, you have to watch out for that. But other than that, you are using exactly the same kind of technique. Evelyn, I want to bring your comment up. It is too light to see well. That's perfectly understandable because I was in H right now. It's super light, but look, I'm switching to 2B. So that will now allow us to actually see better. So bear with me here. This is only basically the construction lines. And as usual, I like starting with the the northwest part of my drawing, which is there, and then move southeast as I go. So here we go. I am going to start where I feel confident the dark areas are. Now, here is what I do with my glasses. I think the middle of my glasses is right about here. So I am now going to draw them. Boom. Okay. So now you should see much better, right? Now things are a lot more defined because we are using 2B. Okay, Evelyn, good? Yes, all right, great. So as I'm moving now right along, I'm trying to shape those glasses on the face and try not to mess up too much. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of using eraser because I find that it kind of breaks the flow of a drawing. So I don't use an eraser as much as maybe I should. But so you see the drawing of that rectangle, even though it's very light, allowed me to gain the confidence to just place the glasses right in there. And once I can do that, then I'm good to go. So the perspective on these glasses is really interesting. And that's about the shape of these things. All right, let me show you something quickly. Did you notice that this one, actually, which is not entirely correct, there we go. Okay, this lens is bigger than this one because the distortion created by the perspective. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, Rick, I can't believe that you are at work and yet watching this. I'm so I just feel totally special that you're actually doing this, Rick. This is so cool that you are at work, but you are taking the time to actually sit down with us and do this. I'm using the eraser at the end of my pentel here. This kind of pentel is called twist erase. Why twist erase? Because you twist to get the eraser in and out. This is a nice um, little trick. Oh, Luz has an interesting question. Am I on a table that is on an incline? Today I am not, which is not the smartest thing to do. I am on my flat drawing table. So it's completely flat. And it's tricky because sometimes it distorts things when you're drawing on a flat surface, but I'm trying my best to keep my head right above it and not have that happen. So, Luz, I hope I answered your question. My table is flat. Okay, I need to answer this question. Who is Rick? While I continue drawing, I'm going to let any one of you answer this question because we all know that Rick is a famous muse at Sketchy. Incredibly inspiring, that's for sure. Okay, but today I'm drawing John Coxwell from Sketchy. He seems a little unhappy in this photo, but that's partly what I like about it, is that he actually has kind of a bored look on his face. I don't know why I was kind of drawn to that. Okay. All right. So slowly building the eyeglass. Um, Anne, are you drawing with me? And who else also is choosing to draw along with me? Because I know that some of you really enjoy doing that. I love the idea that some of you are using the reference photo, which, by the way, has the address right underneath this video. If you go to show more, you're going to be able to access this particular reference photo and draw along with me. I love the idea that we can draw together, do this at the same time. This is kind of like the time to do it, the time to apply the things that I showed in the class. So you see, I'm not doing much else than these glasses right now, because these glasses are going to give me some reference. Yeah, so Anne, you are drawing. Deb, you are drawing. And we have somebody else under Yabut 818 who is drawing too. Deb is drawing. This is awesome. Okay. And Rick, I'm so glad that you enjoy watching. This is great too, you know. This is great because I really do enjoy doing these live drawings myself. It's a little intimidating at first. You're like, oh, what am I going to mess up today? But it's not a problem. Okay, as you know, glasses are made of a lens, and that lens, there's a thickness that needs to show. And I don't know if you can see it on the reference photo. I certainly can. And that is going to leave something I talk about in my class, a little thin line of white here that's really going to make it fairly realistic as we start drawing inside it. See? And now I'm going to worry about the peripherals, which are, you know, eyebrows, little things like that, little features of a face. I always like starting with the darker areas on the face anyway, because that's where I feel safer. Okay, okay, Marnie is having a gin. Oh, this is great. I'm going to show you this. Marnie, you are having a gin in the sunshine and watching. Yay! Please draw along. That'd be great. And Jan, you're drawing along. That's awesome. Okay, great. And yeah, cheers for that drink, Marnie. And someone is on holiday in the UK. Woohoo! Okay. And Adrienne has an interesting question. When are you doing a ballpoint drawing? Why don't we do this? Why don't we say that the next live drawing that I do should be ballpoint? Why not? Right? Adrienne, would that work for you? I think that would work for a lot of people because pencil is fascinating, but I really do enjoy showing what I do in pen as well. So I'm game. I would love to do that. I'll make a note of that, Adrienne. Okay. Okay. Dick. So you notice that you have a pentel. Isn't that a great thing when you realize that you have the tools that, you know, the person uses right in front of you? That's a good feeling, right? Yeah. They're everywhere. Pentels are easy to get your hands on. Okay, so here I am. My computer is heating up, guys. It's not a very pleasant sound to hear. When it starts to sound like a jet plane that's about to take off. I don't know. And it's not a brand new computer either. But that's not a problem. It's taking me a while to fill in those glasses. Did you notice? I'm being really careful about the shape because the shape is really what's going to make or break this drawing, I think. I find that I have more liberty to, quote unquote, be casual or mess up, if you will, the resemblance than I do to mess up the glasses. Did I make sense when I said that? In other words, if the glasses are drawn somewhat right, if they feel right, I think that you are more free to take a little more liberty with what's inside and the resemblance of, of the person. Because resemblance for me is never a huge issue. Okay, he's got this thing here going on. I forgot what it's called. Something meant to not hurt your nose. Okay, we are going to start putting some really interesting features in here. What do you say? So there's his hat. Okay. The hat comes down kind of this way. Okay. Now here's the issue. Here's what's going to happen as I draw. And I cover with my hand. I'm right-handed, and everything that I draw on this side is going to get smeared. So what I like doing is I use a little piece of paper. Let me see if I can just grab an extra piece here on the side. So I'm going to use this piece here and put it under my hand so that I don't mess up too badly. I did that in my lesson too. Okay. Kathy, you just joined. Yes, yes. The pencil that I'm using, Kathy, is a Pentel, and it's an 09. And the lead itself is 2B, so it's a little darker than an HB. Not crazy, crazy dark, but I can still achieve some really nice darkness in there. I really like it. I think 2B is becoming my choice, my pencil of choice, really. Because look, I'm able to go a little light. Let me see if I can gain focus here again. Let me see. Here we go. Oh, much better. I'm sorry that it got a little blurry for a second. If I press just a tiny bit, if I don't apply too much pressure, I can really achieve some lighter grays. But the moment I apply some pressure, then suddenly it's much darker. I love that about 2B. So Kathy, I hope I answered your question. Okay, let me move my paper to the side. And with glasses, it's really interesting. What happens is that because they correct your vision, right? They make your face show a little smaller inside, and that's what's going to happen with his eye. And there's quite a bit of darkness inside here. Can you see it too? And just a little bit of his eye here, barely showing. Told you he doesn't look super happy, but I love that. It's a change of mood a little bit. Bit of a change of mood. Can't quite tell the color of his eyes. I want to say maybe blue, but could be wrong. Okay, what do you think? Yeah, we have an eye. Oh, thank you, Kathy. All right, and of course the eye. Everything is kind of dark in there, you've probably noticed. And the cheek, and underneath the eye. Remember, one of the things that I'm really adamant about is to have that little bit of space between the eye, the eyeball, and where the eyelashes underneath are. Okay. If you look carefully at the reference photo, inside the eyeglass here, there's already some interesting shadows happening that are going to make below his eye fairly dark. There. Okay, I'm keeping the edge here so that we can see the lens, and I'm going to continue. I'm going to resume that face here. Trying not to let my reference photo fall asleep. The edge of his nose, a little bit of shading, and I'm noticing that I can go even darker on the rim of the glass here. Okay. So for those of you who have not signed up for the class, please feel free to do that. You can do it today because we're offering here at Sketchy, if you look right below me here, 30% off 2 or more of my classes, which means that instead of paying $30 for one class, you're going to get 2 for $42. So it's neat. And you can access the link for my classes also underneath me on YouTube here. So check it out. Check them out and see if there's something that you would like to pursue. Maybe it's digital, maybe it's paper. Okay, it's moving right along. It's funny how you can have a face kind of mapped out and it looks like a face, but there's still a whole eye missing. I love that about drawing. It's kind of like part of a magic trick, you know, things reveal themselves as you go. It's pretty neat. Okay, I'm just gonna grab a drink, everybody, just a second, because I need to. Okay, trying not to put any water on my paper. There we go. All right. Now let's see. Trying to keep my proportions right. So it looks as though both eyes are at the same level. Good. And this second eye, the one that I'm about to tackle now, seems to touch the edge here. So I'm going to try to do it like this. I just absolutely love this annoyed look on his face. He's like, really, why are you drawing me? Really, do you have to? Feels that way. Okay. Oops, I did something that I really shouldn't do, which is go all the way to the edge here. I'm correcting this. There we go. Okay. Second eye is more or less here, right? Something like this. And eyelashes coming down this way. Barely visible, but they're there. All the way till the end. So after this, I encourage you to put your work up on Sketchy Art School. And good question. So, do you look at the negative space to help get the placement of the features? Yes, I do. There's always this work in the brain of trying to make lines. Some people draw actual lines, like a grid, right? For me, it's always okay if the edge of the the eyeglasses is here, then I know the eye touches it. And in terms of negative space, I look at what is not happening here, and it helps me place features, absolutely. Um, so, yeah, there is a lot of play with the negative space, definitely. I'm actually really glad you asked this question. And Michelle, you are asking, or you are saying, leaving that white margin around the lens is so effective. Yeah, I know. I do too. I always have to remind myself that this is what is going to make uh, a drawing look pretty realistic, right? It's that little white here where the lens, the edge of the lens is. It's not always that obvious all the time, but yeah. Okay. So I would say, where is the correct place to put our homework? It is on the course page, on the course page. So on the class itself, it doesn't have to be the lesson itself, but on the course page. So I encourage any one of you who would like to share homework to put them on the course page. That way, when I go on the course page, I can see everything all at once. It makes things a lot better. Yeah. I hope that answered your question. So the answer is course page. Okay, thank you for your question. All right, here we are adding some darkness. I'm kind of taking my time. This paper, you're going to think I'm insane for using such a smooth paper because this is photocopy paper. But I wanted to change things up a bit, and I also want to continue sort of driving this point home that this is not about the supplies. You can make an amazing drawing with just very cheap supplies. There's, 10 cents worth of paper here, if that, you know. And this paper, unlike a lot of the paper that I use, especially for the classes, this paper is very smooth. There is absolutely no tooth to it. And that's really interesting because when you draw on such a smooth surface, you kind of have to readjust how you use the pressure. And for me, it works. I really like this feeling too. It's not my usual go-to feel, but it's a nice change. So that's another thing I'm encouraging you to do is to try different papers, see what works for you. Just get a feel for that. Okay. That eye is slowly building. Trying to see where the darkness is. Right there. Remember, one of the things that we quickly establish in drawing eyes is that very rarely is the white, the eyeball, so to say, the white of the eye actually white. It's not. It just isn't. And instead of drawing a thick line right underneath, we're going to let that go. And I'm going to bring in the shadow from, his eyelid, rather. Take a look at that. And those of you who are drawing with me, you can see this. And there's that little bit of negative space there underneath his eye. And that is the part that is lit. And therefore, we don't touch that. And again, 9 times out of 10, that's how it's going to be. So there, it's starting to to look like someone. I hope it looks like him, but I insist on that. I am not chasing resemblance. I am only chasing how can I convey the light? How can I convey the shape? How can I convey volume? Rather than this person has to look exactly like my muse. I mean, I'm happy when they do, but I never go in with that kind of thing in mind. Oh my gosh, Zach, thank you for being here. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Zach. I am also a fan. Okay. How do you manage the contrast between tiny position, meaning like in very small areas? It's really not hard when you really look carefully at your original photo, where the contrast is. It's like in the bigger areas, you just sort of play around, even in the small areas. Tahir, I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, you can ask me and word it differently. Let me keep going here, otherwise I'm not making much progress. Let me look at the time. It's great. We're supposed to be together for about an hour, and I think we're going to get quite a bit done in that hour. Da, da, da. Here's a shadow here that's going to be really interesting to convey. Look at that. It's the shadow from the rim of the glasses. I love that. That really makes things so realistic. Love it. I knew it was a great photo. I knew it. So much going on. Okay, this remains fairly, not really dark underneath the eye here. Again, there's our lens. So I'm going to draw a very thin line. There we go. Okay, my proportions are not perfect. One thing, for example, that I'm realizing right now as I'm drawing this particular eye is that I might have made the eye a little bigger than it was on the original photo, but it works for me right now. It's not outrageously out of proportion, so I'm going to keep rolling with it. And then there's a big shadow here that's brought in from the hat, and that continues right about here. So the hat is actually here. That is really full of contrast, this photo. I love it. Love it. So, out of curiosity, those of you who are drawing along, Deb, and I forgot exactly who is drawing along with me. Are you drawing the same things that I am? Meaning, are you going kind of in the right? I mean, the right. That's certainly not what I meant to say. In the same order, or are you, for example, already working below here? I'm curious to find that out, just to know what your process is, because this is really what I'm interested in, is knowing how people tackle the same thing. So let me know when you get a chance in the chat section if you are actually going at just about the same pace and also doing the same areas at the same time. Because mind you, my choice of starting north and moving south is purely what is the word? Practical. So that I smear less. And you are trying to keep up. Okay, it's great to know. So basically, you are also working in the kind of the same order as I am. That's good to know. And I don't know if that's really the only key to success, but I know that's the way I manage to get things to look somewhat good at the end. Deb, trying, okay. I started on a small sketch pad and I should have started on a large sheet, okay. There's nothing preventing you from actually redoing this at home at some point and maybe post that later if you wanted. Yes, size can be an issue. I don't like drawing too small. I don't like drawing too big for time reasons. Okay, J6 Studios started with the full head rough and then the glasses. Okay. Evelyn, you're drawing the same. Okay, great. Great, great, great. Okay. All right. And Jan, you're following me, but having to make some adjustments. Okay. That's cool. I love knowing that. I love knowing that. I really do enjoy the idea of us drawing the same thing together. The next best thing, and tell me if you agree with this, the next best thing would be to have access live to everybody's drawing as we do it at the same time, like to have like maybe a little corner where we could just, yeah, oh, that'd be great. So a question by Kathy. All right, let me put it up as soon as it comes my way. I told you there would be a little delay. That's because I am a few seconds ahead. So let me see. Okay, Kathy, how do you keep the eyes at the same level horizontally? I've got this kind of imaginary line that I drew, knowing that the glasses go up a bit this way. That's how I have it. You can also draw that line, Kathy. You can draw, boom, a line. And this is why the H comes in handy. I use this H graphite. You draw that line and it keeps things more set. So you can do that. Okay. Joel, let me see. You are trying to keep up and filling in a bit when there is a lag. Yeah, absolutely. That's the right way to do it. That's great. Dick, can you tell me when you choose? Okay. Can you tell me when you choose to draw lines in filling up around the eyes and when you make it more smooth? Yeah, right. So, Dick, you've probably noticed that I start smooth. So I sort of like use the dull part of my lid here, okay? And that gives me a little bit of coverage and I don't have to put a lot of pressure. And then I add those lines to just lock in a little bit of darkness, and for that I use the part that is sharper. So I keep spinning this thing around really. And Dick, I really hope that answered your question. Okay. Let me see. Drawing with you, but on Procreate. Yay! Okay, awesome. Okay. Sharon, the link to the reference photo is below this thing on YouTube. Under Show More, the reference photo is there. So help yourself to the link, okay? And how do I keep the size of the eyes proportional? You know what? In this case, Janice, I'm noticing that this eye, because it's closer to us, is actually quite bigger than this one. So it's not so much that they have to be symmetrical, it's that they have to somewhat follow what the photo tells you. So when your face is turned this way, this eye is going to be bigger than that one. And that's what's happening here. Okay? And I hope that answered your question, Janice. Okay, I need to keep going because, geez, I am not going to be able to show you much of this face otherwise, right? Okay. We've got some really interesting shadows going on. And now would be a good time for me to bring in this anti-smear, paper, because otherwise I'm going to bring in the palm of my hand on my drawing. It's going to be a catastrophe. We don't want that. Catastrophe, not catastrophic, a catastrophe. English. Okay, I keep going. At least I want to deal with this nose, which is showing us quite a bit of shadow here. I really like that nose. So now using my page, because I'm about to darken at a weird angle here. Take a look, guys. Did you notice that the nose has a really beautiful line of reflection here, and I really don't want to miss out on that. So how do I convey this? I just cross here. Boom, and something I had not noticed prior is there's quite a bit of a shadow here. Okay, so you see there's a little bit of shadow that we were able to convey. Going very lightly with my pencil, right? And showing this, now I'm going to turn my pencil and use what is sharper and add the darkness, darker lines. I know there are more technical terms, like values and so forth. Okay. Also, guys, we're here on YouTube, right? I'm encouraging you to go ahead and subscribe to this sketchy YouTube channel where all the goodness is. To subscribe, it's fairly easy right underneath the video, right? You subscribe, boom. I did it. Okay. Oh my gosh, what a great nose this is. Okay. So now we've got a nose. We've got a little bit of volume, right? And Dick, again, look, I've got something that's been laid down very roughly with the wider part of my tip. Now I'm turning and I'm adding a little bit of dark, some cross hatching here, slightly. Where the darkness is on the nose, and then bringing this up a little, and now going back to very light. Yeah. And there's the reflection of those glasses right there. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. Come back, make it just a little darker. And there's also some value there. Can't ignore that. Okay. Anna, you have a good question here coming up. Do I usually draw from pictures? A lot, because I do not have the luxury with a full-time job and being a mom of sitting in, figure drawing classes or having people sit for me. So sketchy is really a great alternative for this, to have decent photos and draw from them and continue learning, really. Because that, for me, that's what it's all about. Okay. So let's take a look. I'm going to bring in something here. You know that my series, Drawing Faces with France, is all about kind of isolating the features. You know, we did wrinkles, we did eyes. What would be the next thing that you would like to see? Michelle, you're saying you would like to do facial hair. I love that idea. I love the idea of doing beards. I think that would be a great class. But if any one of you has more input regarding that, I would love to see it. And that would be our next thing in September. I'm going to follow. I'm going to heed your advice and take that into consideration for the next class because we could do anything we want, really. If some of you would rather do ears, you know, why don't we do a class on ears? You know, they are really fascinating to draw. But I'm with Michelle there with the facial hair. I think it would be fascinating to do something on facial hair if you guys would be okay with that. So I'm taking notes. All right. Now there is also a little bit of facial hair there. Look, Michelle, here we go. There it is. There it is. Oh my gosh, the fan of my computer is going full blast. I think my computer is trying to tell me something. Okay, facial hair sounds great. The nostril. So if you have a hard time placing the nostril, take a look. If you try to do like an imaginary line this way, it kind of starts here. So, and I'm going to put your comment up here. See? And it seems to me as though the end of the nostril is at a straight line with like, oh no, I'm wrong. Here, okay. So, you know, you kind of like, if you want, you draw those lines on your drawing and you use those. And then as you draw on them, they kind of fade away anyway, or leave them because I like the sketchiness of a drawing. So I hope that helped a little bit. Okay, we are getting close to 1 o'clock, and look, I've only done this. I really wanted to add more of the shadow. Let me see, where am I on that lid? Ah, here we go. Okay. This is part of his annoyed look here. Can't neglect the fact that he's got a little bit of that going on in his forehead. See that? Oh yeah. You want to go lightly on any forehead because anything too drawn with too much pressure would be wrong. Okay. I always try to keep things super light in the forehead to keep things somewhat realistic, adding just slightly enough darkness to convey this half frown that he's got going on. Like, why are you again taking a selfie of myself? Talking to his ego. See, I'm going very light here on the forehead, but that allows me to convey just enough of that expression that he's got going on. There we go. What do you think? Yeah? A little bit? Now bringing in some cross hatching to nail some of these things. Okay. I am kind of ignoring the hat, because frankly it's not what I'm interested in today. Unless we did a class on how to convey knitted wool or something. Okay, Anne, I hope that helped. That's good. Facial hair like beards, eyebrows, and eyelashes. Okay, Joe, I'm going to take all this into account. So, do I keep all the shades of the glasses always in the same direction? Yeah, it seems to me as though for all this, everything that's, those little shadows, I bring the hatching this way, and that seems to work. All right, you guys, what do you say? We're gonna end soon. Gonna make this maybe a little more finished, but as you know, it's not really finishing that I'm interested in most of the time. It's just the practice, learning something. Obviously, I didn't even get a chance to go into the mouth area, which was kind of supposed to be here, kind of going down this way. Okay. And then establishing that there's a little soul patch here going on. Little facial hair there. There we go. And that's about as far as it's gonna go today, because it's 1 o'clock and we are finishing up. What do you think, guys? Did you have fun doing this with me? Yes? Say yes. Of course, I could easily sit here another hour. Look, I did not even finish this. Oh no, I need to do this. I need to really address this issue here. Look, what's going on inside here? And I have to do that. So what's going on inside is we've got a piece of the glass, of the rim, right? There. And the hat. And it's dark, guys. It's dark here. There. It's looking a tiny bit more realistic now, isn't it? And that hat here. Okay? It's not perfect, but okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So I see your feedback. It's very positive. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know what? Deb, I agree with what you're saying here. The setup where you can actually, even though it's kind of small, but you can see me referring to the photo. How much of it do I do? Like, do I spend a lot of time looking at the reference photo? I don't know. I hope I do. But that would be also a learning experience for me, rewatching or watching, because I was not watching it, but watching this video and learning how much time I spend on my reference photo as opposed to my drawing. This is great. So thanks for pointing that out, Deb. I'm happy. Thank you for being here, everybody. Yay! We did spend quite a bit of time figuring out this new setup, and I have to say it looks as though it was a success. We didn't get any huge Wi-Fi issue. The camera, even though it's right there in front of me, you see this thing, right? It's like an arm coming down. I think it really did well. I'm really happy about the setup. My computer, my MacBook is about to take off. It's on the runway right now, but other than that, it's great. My poor computer. Okay. I love doing those live videos, Sharon. I do love them too. Janice, I'm glad that you had fun watching along. And yes, I guess you can just accomplish a few things by just drawing along and copying, absolutely. Thank you, Carrie. I'm glad that you enjoyed this. And yeah, Chris, and sharing my time. I love doing these live videos. Absolutely love them. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Keep in mind that if you want to grab this opportunity to maybe take more than one class, this is at a much more interesting rate these days with that code that you have. Oh, sorry, it's beneath me, right there, France 30 at shop.sketchy.com. You can get a really good rate for 2 or more classes. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Obviously, this is unfinished, like most of the things I do. We'll see if I lift it up with 4 points. Oh, yeah. You know what? If I lift up my Mac with my eraser underneath, Dick, you're saying that I should lift up my Mac? Yes. That's what I'm doing right now. Thanks. I lifted it up with my eraser. I think it's gonna help it a little bit. Yeah, I think the new setup is working for everybody. Okay, so don't forget that you can get this discount that you should probably, if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel of Sketchy, and that's going to be it's going to be a good way to keep up with this. I think our next live with me will be on YouTube again because that's the greatest platform, in my opinion, that we've tried so far. Would you agree? I know I do. I think it's the best. So thank you all for the great feedback. Thank you, Dick, for the feedback on lifting my MacBook. I definitely need to do that more. And I will post this on Sketchy Art School so you can see it. And if I get a chance today to go a little further in the drawing, I will. Yeah, so that's what I'll do. And I hope I get to see what you've done. So any one of you who have drawn along with me, please post, and it'd be a fun thing to talk about how different they are, because they are going to be different. Okay, so are you ready to say goodbye? It is hot under my Mac, but I'm following your advice, Dick. I love the fact that you say he for a Mac. It is a he for me too. Okay, everybody, thank you for being here today. We'll do this again, most likely next month on a Saturday at noon, because that's when I do my lives. A lot of people can join. I think it's a beautiful setup. I think we're really lucky to be in that setup. So I'm going to do one last goodbye by coming back on camera, and I'm going to finish the broadcast in a few seconds. Thanks, everybody. Let's do this again. Let's go to Sketchy Art School and see what we've got going on, okay? All right. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Ciao, everyone. Au revoir. Thank you for being here, okay? Bye.